Hi all, I have yet another amazing Leela chess game to show you. This is against Laser 1.5, which was playing on 4 cores i7. So Leela was playing on a 1080 graphics card, so Leela ID 487. So e4 from Laser 1.5, and a set opening book position was given in the Sicilian defense, and the very fun and exciting Sicilian dragon variation, and it's here which is the last book move, Queen d2. Okay, so the contributor, the game contributor, is Gallagher on the Leela Chess forums, and you're welcome to contribute there your own games. That'd be great. So Queen d2. So this is a fairly standard book position. Leela plays knight c6, and actually now d5. Knight takes, b takes, and this is actually quite well known. Knight takes d5, queen takes, and black has a resource here, which you may have seen before if you've played this variation. I'll let you guess it. So the queen is attacking the queen and the rook. You can actually play queen c7 here, offering the rook, because now bishop f5 picks up the queen because you're hitting c2 and the queen. So queen takes f8 check. Now, whilst both bishops are pointing at white's king, it's quite dangerous here, and in fact the best move is to keep this bishop pointing at b2. So actually this is a very good move by Leela already. King takes f8. If bishop takes f8, white can get time for things like bishop d3 without any issue, because there's no tactics with queen e5 when the bishop's on f8, hitting b2 and e3. So that's why it's actually very important not to get this sort of position, because actually white might actually have a solid advantage here. Now in the game it's very, very different to that, very subtly different. So let's see. In the game, white plays here rook d2. You can see that like one of the threats is to mate immediately, but there's also queen e5. So rook d2 addresses the mating part. Now, let's just check an alternative though. Bishop d3, you can see here, queen e5 hits e3 and b2. And even with this resourceful line, black ends up being with a big advantage. So rook d2 seems necessary. Leela plays actually h5. Now in this position, if queen e5 here, then there's the embarrassing rook d8 checkmate. So h5 has a certain idea now to put the king potentially on h7. It also restricts against g4. We have bishop e2, so king g8 now. So this is now renewed as an idea, queen e5 without getting mated, to hit b2 and e3. We have rook hd1, and you might think this is weird, offering the h2 pawn, but it's because of this threat, basically, that this is a good idea. If, for example, here h3, let's have a look. The point is queen e5 hits e3 and b2, and you might think, well, what's the big deal? Bishop d4. The big deal here is queen e6, and black is threatening queen takes a2, as well as bishop takes d4 for queen takes e2. So you can't handle both here with white. If b3, then bang, bishop takes d4 and queen takes e2. And if bishop takes g7, black doesn't recapture but plays queen takes a2, threatening mate on a1. So black has a big advantage in this variation. So rook hd1 is an important move to give up h2. At first I thought it was a bit mysterious, but it's because of this queen e5, queen e6 tactic. That's why it's very important. Now, okay, so here we see actually queen e5, now bishop d4, and queen e6 would seem to be also dangerous here because the bishop takes d4 for the same reasons before. But in fact, white can play bishop takes g7 in this position. And after queen takes a2 has a very important tactical resource here in the form of rook d3, and this makes it actually equal, believe it or not. If check, then that's a disaster for black, because that hits the queen and saves the bishop. And if bishop takes d3, then actually in this position there's an amazing tactic. Can you see? Bishop c3, because here if taking then check is mating, and after bishop c3 white is actually okay. This position is white's actually got a big advantage, so this is very tricky for black. So yeah, some fascinating lines here. If we go back a bit to here, if king takes g7, then rook a3, and this is apparently, this is equal, this position, even position. Yeah, so there's some interesting tactical nuances. So, okay, after queen e5, bishop d4, so queen e6 is not played. In fact, queen takes h2 is played instead. We have bishop takes g7, king takes, bishop c4, queen f4 hits the bishop. Bishop is protected. h4, getting a grip on the dark squares. Rook f1. g5, and it's here Leela does seem very keen and connected past pawns basically. The undertone to black's play here is connected past pawns. We'll see soon. e6, rook f2, queen e5, king b1, queen c3, king a2, a5, bishop d3, and it's here we start to see black would seem to have an option in bishop d3, but Leela actually chooses g4, much more aggressive. If bishop takes d3 here, rook takes, queen e1, this position, black has a small edge, but it's difficult to see how black's progressing that easily. So the alternative, g4, is very interesting. Now, if white took on f5, this favours black with a tempo gainer, g3. This position is quite nice for black, because that is pretty dangerous. This g-pawn is a protected pass pawn here, and black can work on both sides of the board and get two connected pass pawns and stop these pawns over here as well. Big advantage. So if we go back to g4, f takes g4 was played. Bishop takes. We have bishop b5, and now Leela has these pawns to push, and like a human would maybe think about these pawns, if you play h3 as well, you get two connected pass pawns if you can visualize that. And that's exactly the kind of plan Leela uses here, driving up these pawns now. So they're being driven up. White's also got, of course, a potential candidate pawn that's kept under lock and key at the moment. So the two connected pass pawns are ready for h3 at some point. And here we have some checks, and black's actually threatening king c3 here, potentially. So rook b1, yeah, if rook d8 check, king c3 is really dangerous for white, because then something like e3 would stop. Well, it's winning for black. So rook b1, queen c3, check. We get a few more checks, but fundamentally Leela's working on the two connected pass pawns. Now h3 breaking into territory with the two connected pass pawns. So f3, and this is going to win material basically. Bishop e2 was played here. This is an interesting move. It's actually ignored here, taking this with queen c1. So Leela's just interested in pushing the pawns. So two connected pass pawns. And now it's just, yeah, it's very, very dangerous after f2. And we see the pawns being potentially herded. So queen e1, Bishop f5 now. Yeah, and on the verge of winning material now. And this is really all over by the shouting. The game was adjudicated here as a win for black, so it's pretty clear this is very good for black. It's a big advantage. So yeah, Leela played a Sicilian dragon really in an interesting manner there, winning that h2 and sort of formulating basically like a human plan to get the two connected passed pawns. So very nicely played Sicilian dragon there. Hope you got something from it. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks very much.